Hello, I'm Derek Ray, and you're listening to the Scottish Football Forums podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Scottish Football Forums podcast. I'm Craig and I'm joined again by Laurie, our co-host.
Hello, Craig. Nice to be on again. I'm just going to start off to just apologise in advance as my voice is a bit broken today. After a wee sing-song or two in the pub following the Hearts-Aberdeen match yesterday afternoon. And I was just going to mention, actually, before we get into the serious stuff, where the singing came from, and it happened to be we were just sitting having a drink, and a fellow who'd had a couple of jars this afternoon came over and started chatting to us. I can't remember what it was about either, nonsensical things, and he just reminded me of someone. I just, his face looked familiar, and I just turned out my mate at one point and went, "Do you know who that looks like? That looks like Jocky Scott." And my mate burst out laughing, and someone else heard as well. Or he was like, "It's right, it looks like Jocky Scott." The guy didn't have a clue who we were talking about. So I looked up a picture of Jocky Scott on my iPhone and showed them, and everyone saw it. So the one Jocky Scott chant was ringing around the pub, which was an odd thing to hear, considering who Jocky Scott was. He was in a Hearts orientated pub after Hearts beat Aberdeen that we were singing the name of former Dundee manager. But there you go. But it got me thinking about lookalikes. So I think what I'm going to do just now. I'm going to post a wee thread on the forum, just getting some lookalikes. Scottish football related is better, but you know we'll be open to any. So
It sounds good. Sounds a good plan.
So yeah, if you want to, if you're listening and you've got a few ideas, then get over to the forum at scottishfootballforums.co.uk and hit forum. If you're already a member, then you'll know the drill. If not, it's free to sign up, so get over there. Or if you'd like, you can also contribute via the Facebook page. Just search for Scottish Football Forums and hit like. Or on Twitter as well, follow us, which is just at @sfootballforums. So just throw that one out there, something a bit light-hearted. And what we'll do is next week we'll have a look through some of them, some of the best ones. Hopefully we'll have a few good contributions.
Laurie, you mentioned last night that you were drinking. Do you think that, looking back, do you think this was just simply a mature gentleman with a moustache and looked nothing like him, and you just took it?
I'll see him again and I'll think, why did I think he looked like Jocky Scott? It was just the moustache. But at the time, when I looked the picture up, we did think it was quite a striking resemblance. And I showed him the picture, and it looked like, I think he thought I was looking in his reflection in my iPhone. So I still maintain there was a good resemblance between the two, but the moustache definitely helped.
See, you should have got a picture. That would have made this story if you'd got a picture of him.
Just actually look at my iPhone, because I'd had a few drinks, so it wouldn't surprise me if I took a picture of him. Nah, I didn't, unfortunately. No. I didn't realize I was that drunk until I opened my Football Manager game today, and I'd won the league last night and forgotten about it. So there you go.
It's never a good idea to turn the computer on when you're drunk, especially not if you're going near Facebook or whatever.
Don't FM and drink. No, it's not good. At least I won the league. Could have been worse. I could have screwed everything up. So,
Soldier players, yeah.
Aye.
So in today's podcast, I thought we'd do our usual. We'd have a quick look at the SPL games, and with the Europa League coming up during the week, take a quick look at Rangers, Celtic and Hearts, and attempt to make predictions on how they're going to get on, and also preview the weekend's SPL games.
Yep, so we're going to have a look back to see how badly we predicted the games over the weekend.
Well, I think you're saying that because I think you know that I'm going to start with the Saturday lunchtime game, which is Rangers against Inverness, which finished 2-0, and if I check my records, it looks as if that you had 2-0 in your predictor.
Yep, I think is that possibly the first game that I've got exactly. Oh no, I got the Motherwell game, the first game of the season exactly right. I think that's possibly only the second game so far this season that I've got the score exactly bang on. So yeah, I was quite chuffed at that.
I went for 4-0, so I got 1 point in the SFF predictor. Scott went for 2-1 to Rangers, so again he gets 1 point.
So what did you think of the game then? I presume you would have watched it all. I was otherwise busy.
And the pub by the sounds of it, yeah.
Warming up for that was the warm up for the Hearts game, so I didn't see the game.
Yeah, I thought Rangers were pretty good. Unfortunately, a lot of the chat post game was about the referee and the handball incidents. Really, in the first half, there was 3 handball incidents. 2 of them would have led to a single penalty, but none of them were given. There was 2 penalties in the second half, and really the chat revolved around the referee, which is a shame.
Yeah, I saw the highlights. I think handballs are given far too much sometimes. I get if you put your hand out and it blocks something, or you put your hand in a, what does it say? If it's your hand's in an unnatural position.
Yeah, yep.
And I mean, what's an unnatural? It depends what you're doing. It's like unnatural is have your hands behind your side, straight. You know, your arms are going to move around when you're running.
Yeah.
And I think the first one, you know, he's not putting his hand out. I can't see the first one should be given. You know,
I don't think he knew it was coming. No, I don't think
it was coming. He wasn't. He wasn't looking at his hand. It dropped down and hit him. The second one, I would usually expect the second incidents to get given, especially considering it bounced off one arm and then another.
Yeah.
But in a way, it's quite good that they're not, because at the same time, I don't think they were going out their way to handle it or to get an advantage by it. Probably should have been a penalty, especially the second. I think it was the second incident. His hand was out a bit, his arm was out, and it kind of bounced away off his arm. I don't know what your view on them was.
Well, I'm not sure of the rule, to be honest. I know you mentioned how it is if your arm's in an unnatural position, but if your arm is stopping the trajectory of the ball, which in the first instance, the header could have been going on target, and well, that could have been a goal. So I think in that instance, although he knew nothing of it, I think it's still a penalty.
I mean, I tell you what. See, I thought it used to be deliberate handball. Is you know, if it's deliberate handball, but it's not anymore. I'll tell you what is a handball. Is what's his name? Flanagan. Is that who it was? Finnegan. Sorry, I'm going mad. I think I'm still drunk. Carl Finnegan for St Johnstone stroke Diego Maradona. That's handball. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Jumping up and pretty much punching the ball in the net. I mean, that's handball. So I mean, if the ball's going in, and you know, and you do like Paul Hartley did at Parkhead last season, you know, you basically save it. I mean, that's handball on a red card. You can see that. But I think they're giving far too much, because you know, your hands are there. I mean, you can't cut them off. So
yeah, exactly.
Sometimes I think they're far too quick to give them. But they weren't given, and Rangers did get 2 penalties. In the terms of the penalties they got, the first one, I can see the arguments that it was harsh because he did get the ball, but he gets a hell of a lot of the man as well. So I think you can see why it would be a penalty. He's from behind as well. He's kind of doing that scissory type tackle they don't like. And although he gets through Naismith and again gets the ball, I think it's probably foul. I don't like the red card constant. I sometimes think that, you know, your team's got a penalty. It seems, honestly, if it's not like if he is trying to tackle him and he happens to get a penalty, I think a red card is often a bit too harsh constantly. It kind of ruins the game a lot of the time.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, the penalty itself is a punishment, but I don't know. I think it's a deterrent to have the red card there, because, well, who's to say the penalty's going to be scored? You just don't know.
But this is what I mean. If someone's going one-on-one clean through and the referee can... The problem is it's down to interpretation, I suppose. If the referee... If he thinks the player hasn't tried to get the ball, he's just went, right, I'm going to stop him, you know, no matter what. So he's just basically clipped his heels on purpose, or he's grabbed him and just pulled his shirt back. He's not trying to get the ball, but I think you're deterring people from trying to tackle, and it's like, if there's two players going back and it's the last man, we don't want him to constantly just go, right, I'm just going to let him run through and score because I'm not going to risk. Because obviously, giving away a penalty, I know what you're saying. There's no guarantee he's going to score. But if you're a team, if Rangers are playing the Old Firm game and Hooper is going through one-on-one and whoever's come across, I was going to say David Weir, but David Weir's not going to keep up with Gary Hooper. So if Buguera's running behind him, are you going to think, right, Buguera, just pull him down, give away the penalty, you'll be sent off and they'll have a penalty, but at least it won't be a goal. You're going to think, right, just cut your losses, just let him go through. Celtic are probably going to go 1-0 up, but at least we've got 11 against 11 and we've got the rest of the game to try and get it back. Whereas if he fouls them, it's probably still going to be 1-0 and you're a man down.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not a fan of the tactical fouling, especially with you see it all the time when there's a break and somebody's pulling somebody back, and they're just like accepting, yeah, I'm going to get a yellow card for this, but I'm going to blatantly grab the guy and just pull him back. I think it's unfair, really. I just wish that it would be stamped out of our game. In the penalty incident.
Yep, given a penalty, I can see why it was given. Which took it well. I didn't think the second one was a bit. I thought the second one was very soft.
I had to watch it quite a few times, even during the live game when they showed a number of replays. I still couldn't really work out what the defender had done, and it was only when I was watching the BBC highlights online that, well, I can kind of see why I think it was the linesman that gave it, why the linesman might give it. I don't think it was a penalty.
I mean, I know they say that the bigger they are, the harder they fall, but I mean, how big's that centre back? He's about 6'4", 6'5",
6'5", I think. Yeah, it's the way his feet came away beneath him. It was. I don't want to use the word.
Him as a big Jesse. If you're going down like that, it's like Jesus.
It wasn't natural, the fall, but maybe the push was enough to knock him off balance. I don't know. I didn't think so. Thought I'd move on to the other side of the Old Firm.
Yep.
And look at the Celtic Dundee United game, which finished 5-1, surprisingly. I had went for a 3-1 to Celtic, same as Scott, and Laurie, you went for a 2-0. So although all three of us got the winner correct, we were nowhere near, I think, safe to say, nowhere near the correct scoreline.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been surprised if anyone had predicted that Celtic would have won so comfortably against Dundee United. I think a bit of a shock. United, even with their player losses, they're they're a very good team with very capable players. Even with Goodwillie now away, I think Johnny Russell is the next hope. I think I've been impressed what I've seen him so far. So obviously he got his goal with a brilliant cross from Gary Kenneth, pinpoint.
Yeah. Did you watch was it the BBC highlights? You seen it?
I did. Aye.
Gary Kenneth seemed to be involved in every one of Dundee United's attacks. Did you spot that?
Was that just because everyone led from a set piece maybe afterwards?
Well, I'm sure it must have been, but yeah, I don't know. He seemed to be acting like a forward.
I think he's Majid Buguera or something.
He's got that space to fill now in Scottish football.
Oh, no, Marius Zaliukas is doing his best to try that roaming up the park, and every time you see him get that glint in his eye and he thinks he's going to take everyone on. You saw him against Celtic, remember last season he tried it.
Yes, yeah, I do remember that.
When you're the last man, you don't do things like that. But anyway, when the highlights, sometimes it's hard to tell because it showed all Celtic's goals and it showed a couple of missed chances, and sometimes it looked like United were dodgy at the back and Celtic were rampant. But as far as I heard and I read, United it kind of flattered Celtic a bit. I think apparently United played not too badly. They had a couple of chances themselves, but Celtic just looked really good with their movement and attack. I'm really impressed with the way they're hitting the ball around, and it's certainly not doing them any harm in my view of them being this year's champions. I certainly think Rangers have got a lot of work to do to catch up with Celtic at the moment in terms of quality wise and the way the team's playing.
Yeah, well, going on the highlights I've seen, as you say, it is only 5 minutes or so, but they could very easily been another 2, maybe 3 goals for Celtic. I think Chris Commons hit the inside of the post. Maloney had a wonderful run. He went